Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome yourselves to the final match of this season of the ECC. We have the promotion relegation match to the Champions Division. We have CLAT Gold and Ascension Trinity fighting for a spot in the Champions Division next season. I know loads of people are super excited to see this match. I am too, and of course, my co-caster here, of course, Wolf, I'm sure you're super excited to see this match as well. The fan favourites. Ascension
Ooh,
Trinity looking to maybe
definitely.
get promotion. So yeah, can't wait to see what happens.
Yes, indeed. CLAT Gold have been in Champs Division for the entirety of the season. Haven't done quite well, as you know they're fighting to stay in their division. So the fact that Ascension Trinity have done so well to fight through playoffs and still managed to get themselves a shot at it just shows us how much they want it. And the real question is, how well are they going to do, and will they manage to promote? I mean, a lot of people are hoping that they will, and a lot of people are thinking that they will. But of course, it's not proven until we see it here on stream.
Yes, indeed, and I think a lot of people are expecting Ascension Trinity to come out huge here. You know, they've had some great performances, not just in the ECC but also in other community tournaments. You know, just a few weeks back we saw them in the Bubble Hub qualifiers actually making it to that main tournament, which is impressive. And maybe in the main tournament they didn't do so well, but still getting there in the first place, very great for them. They've certainly grown as a team since they first formed. And as for the playoffs, they maybe dipped a little bit, albeit they had a long day that day. They did end up getting upset by LV Esports, but beat Glasgow Storm. And one of the longest overtimes we've seen in ECC history, I believe. And they've made it here to the promotion tournament. So they didn't get the automatic bid into the Champions Division like We Vicious or ILV. But they have another chance against a struggling CLAT Gold side. Because this season for CLAT Gold has been rough. Only
Oh
scraping
God, yeah.
one win this entire season
I
and
don't
getting
want to
three
laugh.
individual games wins. And it's like, man, it's been rough.
It has been rough, and I don't want to laugh at it because teams have gone through it. I know. We almost had a game yesterday. Unfortunately, it was cancelled. But I believe one of the teams barely. I don't even think they got a win in their or did have no. They must have got a win because unless their teams forfeited in their division, but they really struggled as well in their season. So for CLAT Gold, it's something much similar, but we do have to wonder if they're going to be able to beat a team like Ascension Trinity. You mentioned that they've been playing in the Bubble Hub. They have been doing very well across all sorts of tournaments. So it is entirely just how well they play on the day and how much they want it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to perform on the day, especially in this kind of scenario, the promotion tournament, where it's one series. I admit it's a bit brutal, the format, but it proves who can perform well on the day. You have to step up when it matters most. Of course, there's a lot on the line for both these teams. CLAT Gold, they want to stay in the Champions Division and give it another go next season. Whereas Ascension Trinity, they want to step up to the next level, get perhaps the level they think they should be at. I would definitely consider them a Champions Division quality team. So yeah, that you've got to perform really well on the day. Ascension Trinity last time in the Division One playoffs, they maybe didn't do so well. Perhaps perform below expectations, certainly below my expectations. But they have another chance here to get into the Champions Division. So I think now, Wolf, we'll head into our predictions and we'll see who will win. So I'll go to you first. Who you got?
Okay. I mean, we haven't seen much of how CLAT Gold have progressed. Of course, there's been a long period in which they played last, or we got to see them play last, sorry. For Ascension Trinity, we saw them in playoffs. We saw how well they did. And for that reason, I'm going to say it's going to be a rough start, probably for both teams. Both going to be quite nervous. I'm going to say it's a 4-1 or a 4-2 to Ascension Trinity. I think it's a fair judgment.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm gonna go on the same boat as you and say Ascension Trinity will be the ones to win this. I'll give it a 4-1 scoreline. I think they're gonna, again, I think maybe a rough start. Obviously the nerves will maybe affect them a little bit, but I think as the series goes on, Ascension Trinity they'll find the comfort zone and they'll, just get the ball rolling and can come out with a victory and smash CLAT Gold. I think. So yeah, we appear to have the CLAT side in now for some reason with 4 players.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hold up,
That's
why
a
is
bit
there 4
strange.
players?
Yeah,
We
maybe
have
you should tell one of them to get out.
yeah, we have Tobble, Cello, Alex, and I'm trying to look for the other. By Jesus, I'm assuming Alex
Yeah.
is the coach. He's the only one without the
All right.
tag.
So before we
and
begin,
Tobble.
I think Wolf, you'll have to go tell the coach or whoever to get
Yeah.
out before we start, because as you know, coaches aren't allowed. There's a stream for a reason, so I have to watch it. But yeah, Jez, Havoc, and Hodge, the usual lineup there here as well. So yeah, it's basically you know, gonna be a great match. I actually also realised there's a battle between the Brits and the Spaniards in this one. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see effectively who's the better, which the better country really, in this, and of course maybe a bit of caster bias because me and Wilf are both British as well, so
No, couldn't be,
it could not be. Obviously, I mean maybe I wouldn't be so biased because you know I'm Scottish and all three of them are English. So
Same here. I'm Welsh.
oh yeah, you're Welsh actually. Yeah, so
If anything, we should be hating on
yeah, exactly.
Ascension.
If anything, that should be the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, still, all right. That was an interesting chat.
Can you?
Going?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
keep talking, please.
yeah. I'll keep going. So, I think now we'll ask the chat. All you lovely people in the chat. Who are you backing? Who have you got to win this series? Of course, go to the chat and show your support for them. I imagine it's probably going to be overwhelmingly in favor of Ascension Trinity in my eyes. But
I do see a fair bit of CLAT esports. Markfish trying to just hope that Jez and Ascension Trinity don't quite make it to Champs Division. I think he's wanted to try and get to on par with Ascension Trinity there. I can see CLAT esports are in the chat as well. Hello to you, and the coach is here. I don't know what you're up to, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. But anyways,
we have everyone here.
Start? Yeah,
I think that's only fair to.
Yeah, we've got everyone here, so I think let's get started with the series. Best of 7, promotion relegation. Whoever wins into champs, whoever loses is relegated. Super exciting stuff. Let's get started. Wolf, take it away.
A good matchup. Strong kickoff there. Havoc slow to the ball. Hodge keeping it. Looks like Tobble's going to try and play a pass down to the side wall. No, he's the only one for it. Seems to be a bit dysfunctional side from both ends, it seems. To be fair, CLAT Gold are doing very well with their attempts at passing. Cello couldn't quite reach the original pass, but managed to get 1-2 Tobble there. I think this is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, indeed. You know, starting out with these first 30 seconds, they are managing to find each other pretty well on the CLAT Gold side. Even still, though, Ascension Trinity, you know, positioning well, managing to stop attacks when there are chances for them. So they have a decent hold on the midfield, as we're seeing at the moment, and they're trying to find some centres in the middle. But yeah, so far Ascension Trinity looking like they've got this one under control, but it's only the first minute, so I'll just see how it develops. As that is a bit of a questionable whiff from Hodge, but Jez will have him covered. On it gone, looking fairly even, I would say.
Yeah, Hodge in a different car than I'm used to seeing him in. You definitely do see Ascension Trinity being a very offensive side, a good one at that. So I hope that they manage to work their way through, make sure they get their goals, because there was a questionable double commit I saw there. The ball rolled down, Hodge managed to get an extra touch, and Jez ended up trying to follow up. Didn't manage to reach it, and then it put Ascension on the back foot like we're seeing now.
Yeah, indeed. I'm now seeing a couple demos coming out from both these sides. So I would like to see how that develops. You know, we talk about how well demo plays can work. And the bumps really. They can, it can help, especially for CLAT, who have been a bit under a lot of pressure so far. They've not had much control over the ball. But yeah, also Ascension doing them. They're trying to break through this defense because even though if you have that pressure on the attack, right, you're gonna have to find gaps in the defense somehow. And so far, CLAT not having too many issues with defending so far. But as I say that, Caster's cars. Here comes Havoc.
Oh my word, Cello taking his sweet time, and he just had too much of it. Didn't get the flick he wanted. Havoc took his opportunity, read the play well, secured the first goal just in the first 2 minutes. You do see, like you mentioned, CLAT Gold doing very well in their defense. They were holding up. They were making sure that the Ascension Trinity didn't really get their shots off. But when Ascension Trinity do, they have a good intention in scoring. And that's the issue that CLAT Gold need to solve.
Yeah, indeed. You know, we're seeing it now with Ascension Trinity. You know, you talk about them; they're a very offensive team, and we're showing it here. You know, they're constantly going for those passes. You know, just battering the backboard, whatever, and even throwing into demos in there. You know, that first goal I would say was maybe off a bit of a blunder from the CLAT Gold side. You know, just one of the players being caught with their pants down. But even still, right? Still putting the pressure on, and you know, CLAT, they're managing to put away these balls whenever they do come to them. So I mean, it's not the end of the world for CLAT Gold, but they need to find themselves on the attack a little bit more. They need to get out of defense because, you know, they say defense is the best offense, but you actually need to get out of the defense to begin with.
Defense is the best offense, but you know, you need to actually defend properly to manage to create an offense, and they're not defending properly. They're getting their saves, that's like fair enough, but they're not using them like they should be now, which they have done exactly that. They need to push forward. Once they've got their saves, they need to make sure the chances are open. Jesus here doing a good job of just making sure Havoc doesn't get his opportunity. A double demo, I think that was, and they've managed to equalize.
Yeah, definitely. That was, great thinking from by Jesus. He has the ball on his side there, and so he's like blocking himself between himself and Havoc, and then he just needs to go for that demo, get rid of him. As soon as Havoc's out of the game, it's over. That ball's going in. So very well done on the counter from by Jesus to get that one all by himself. And then there's another chance for CLAT Gold, and that is some great stuff from Tobal there. Just taking it over the last defender, and it's quite a quick turn of events. CLAT Gold, they were looking like they were struggling to get anything, and like that, 2 goals and they're in the lead.
I think they're just trying to make sure they take their opportunities well. I mean, Havoc tried to get back in time, couldn't quite get his bump, and Tobal just made sure that he got to it in time. And I wonder, hang on, I need to see this again. As Cello managed to get a very early kickoff goal. Let's see how this worked. Jez too quick to it seems. Cello placed it well, and managed to secure a goal.
Yeah, really with Jez there on the kickoff, he was perfectly countered. I'd imagine what he was originally going for was a back corner, but instead, he didn't get himself between the ball and the goal enough, and so it just allowed Cello to just, slide it right past him into the net. And Havoc, he was on the opposite side of where the ball was going. Really, he couldn't get back to it just, in the nick of time. So, kickoff goals they do happen, but I was just saying is what a save from Cello is not enough. But Jez coming in for the finisher, and we'll see this one again. You see Havoc again going for those demos, getting rid of Tobal, who was going for the squishy save. But Jez did to clean up, and Ascension Trinity get one back, and with a minute left, game's still wide open now.
Oh yeah, plenty of time for Ascension Trinity to come back. I did mention this was going to be shaky. They do need to just warm up to each other. It seems that it was quicker for CLAT Gold than it was for Ascension Trinity, but they are definitely starting to pull back. There is a minute in it. There is a goal stopping them from reaching a tie game. But we just need to make sure, and we need to see Ascension Trinity pull that off. Otherwise, it's going to be a very tough start for them.
Yeah, indeed. And we're seeing them now. They're stuck on the defense a little bit. Just getting boost started, and just constantly people whipping the ball, and you really need to try to take some control of your Ascension Trinity. Hodge trying to do it here, and it's a good touch over to Jez, but really, you need to start pushing. Then you got 30 seconds on the clock. You really need to make this count. The Cello is not going to give them any time and space whatsoever. So 20 seconds, still 1 goal to find, and Ascension Trinity in any attack, maybe to have a chance.
Hodge tried to place it down. A very awkward pinch pass, it seemed, from Havoc. Hit it very high up, and Hodge almost managed to secure it, but Jez off of another Havoc pass secures the equalizer. 7 seconds remaining in the game.
Yeah, brilliant touch there from Havoc into the midfield. And Cello just caught a little bit of position. That ball was awkward for him, and Jez, no hesitation to pounce onto that one. So 7 seconds to spare. Ascension Trinity clawing their way back into this game. They've done it. It looks like we're going into overtime.
It does look it indeed, but there is a possibility of a goal coming through. There is time. There is space. Hodge lets it drop, and overtime does hit.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this overtime goes. Both these teams looking, you know,
Oh,
as
no.
expected, a bit shaky. I don't know indeed that ball's going towards the net, but both these teams, you know, showing their weaknesses, you know, as expected, and maybe a bit nervous. But now it's an even playing field again. It's 1 goal to get this first game win. Very important for the series as a whole. So we'll see how both teams manage.
Jazz could have taken the opportunity there, did well to go against that and make sure that they didn't throw either possession and their rotation out. Opportunity again. Jazz playing this to the side. It seems like it's going to have to wait for Hodge to try and push on it. Doesn't quite. An opportunity here for CLAT Gold. It was almost an open goal. Havoc did a great job at rotating back.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, yeah, Havoc doing a good job to clean that one up. It was a little bit awkward for them. But now Ascension Trinity trying to get back on the attack. Not as CLAT have anything to say about it. And that's another demo, but definitely Havoc's in the net. And we're just seeing CLAT going for those demo plays again, trying to open up the defenses.
Oh,
it's
no.
looking real sloppy. And it could be a scoring chance. Jets get it in. My oh my.
That was horrible. Hodge managed to read the defender, or the attacker that went to bump him, jumped over him, managed to carry the ball, get bumped by the same guy over the rotating defender to Jez, who then proceeded to take it back over the guy rotating to then score the goal.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Like, amazing, yes. It was a right mess. I will admit, on the side of Ascension Trinity, I feel like that maybe should have been a goal. Because I think 2 of the players actually bumped into each other at some points. But I mean, they'll take it. It doesn't matter how you get the goals. Yes, it was a scrappy as hell game for both these teams, but you know, you don't care. If you get the win, you get the win. But I feel like both teams got to calm it down a little bit. Because, you know, that was just the first game. It was real hectic. You know, I feel like I'm not giving it, you know, enough there to say it was quite hectic. But now into game 2. These teams looking to just calm things down a little bit and, you know, focus up. CLAT Gold have a lot of work to do here to get into the series, but it's a good start for Ascension Trinity. That first game, and, you know, well, it's not too much for cushion, but, I mean, getting the first game is important for your mentality. So let's see how both these teams will do going into game 2.
Havoc doing a good job of getting his pass off earlier. Goal opportunity is almost going to work. Total just managed to get to it in time. And you mentioned last game that that last goal wasn't exactly a goal that should have been scored. And you're right, but again, if you're not capable of getting the save for it, then realistically, why are you letting it in? Like, you shouldn't be letting it in when you're at this standard. Hodge just managed to get a spawn demo there. That's horrifying to witness.
Yeah. Indeed. You know, you mentioned that about goals that should not be scored, and I mean, they do happen, but, you know, in some scenarios I would say, you know, there's goals that definitely shouldn't go in and really the defender can't do much, but most of the time, yes, your defender should be there. You know, you talk about that last goal in the last game, there should have been someone back to make that save in that scenario rather than CLAT Gold, you know, committing too hard to that attack. So, I mean, yes, you get those moments, but I think now, like, both these teams are starting to play a bit more normalized. Ascension Trinity is still showing that they have that advantage in the attacking side. They're getting more of the pressure. But CLAT showing that, you know, they have their own ways of going about it. They can still get that pressure and find chances. And, you know, you made that first game real close, so you never know what could happen.
You're very right there. It is just an open game. Anyone can take it. You did mention the mentality is definitely in favor of Ascension Trinity, but it doesn't stop CLAT Gold from clawing their way back. This is only the second game. 1-0 to Ascension Trinity. Plenty of time. This is a best of 7. So, although Jez manages to get that goal there, very well done to Ascension Trinity, by the way, CLAT Gold still have plenty of time to come back.
Yeah, indeed. And really with that goal, there's no one getting off from CLAT Gold. There's an awkward 50-50 against it. It was slammed right into the sidewall and back into the centre for Jez. So, I mean, it was just easy for him to follow that up and get the shot. But really, you got to have someone challenging that as soon as. You know, I saw 2 defenders in there. Neither one of them were on it. So you need to, you know, not give those chances away too easily. But for Ascension, you got your first goal here in this game. And, you know, whilst it's still a long road for the series as a whole, still, even so, goals like this can happen, you know, from CLAT Gold. And it's a bit awkward here, you know, for Hodge. He's in a tough spot, and, you know, you can't really blame him for that one. Maybe expecting another teammate to get to it, but nevertheless, Jesus, good thing he was there to capitalise on that one and make this an even game.
Indeed, such an awkward goal there for Hodge. Obviously, with hindsight, he knew he should have probably jumped a bit lower, but that's not something you really want to get bogged down in. You got to know that goals like that will happen, and you got to be able to capitalize and push forward and make sure you don't let goals like that happen again. And Jez and Havoc are about to show why that's the case. A brilliant passing play with a double touch.
Yeah, indeed, and it's just Jez putting this to an undefended backboard. No one's there to contest it, and it's just a free shot for Havoc. You need to have someone jumping for it if you're on CLAT Gold, but that's an issue we still see from teams at this level sometimes, where no one's covering the backboard, and you know, any team at this level will know how to exploit that backboard if it's not being protected well enough. And that's a perfect example of it there. Jez saw that backboard, it was completely open, shot it right to there, and Havoc with the follow-up. So well played for the Ascension Trinity halfway through. Back in the lead, but it's not going to last long. Tobel, top shelf. And they'll get back in it once again.
Jesus almost managed to get his shot off originally, hit the post, took it high, passed it to his teammate, who then placed it just above the defender, equalizing it. Could have waited, could have hurried up, made it 5-2s across the top there, but, beggars can't be choosers, and let's see how Ascension Trinity fare against an equalized game.
Yeah, it's happening again where they're getting one goal and then CLAT Goal answered so quickly. And so it can maybe be a sign of, maybe the mentality that Ascension have. They get one goal, okay, they can maybe relax a little bit. No, you got to keep your foot on the pedal and be going all out, playing at 100%. Because if you show any signs of weakness, then it could spell disaster. But as we say it, Jez pulling it back now, and a double commit there from CLAT Goal. Not much else you can say. No one to contest it, and there's a well-placed shot from Jez, putting it behind both defenders. Back in the lead now. We'll see how long this one lasts, but a minute 50 left. Ascension Trinity in the lead again.
Celo did a great job of getting that save, had it bounce off the post. Unfortunately, didn't have it bounce outwards, more towards that side where Jez already was. And unfortunately, the double commit from CLAT Gold resulted in that goal, realistically. Havoc getting a free one, it seems. Celo was the only one rotating back, it looked like, and it just wasn't enough. Got bumped, and Havoc had his free goal. They're now 2 goals ahead. It's going to be definitely really difficult for CLAT Gold to come back now.
Yeah, my question now, Wolf, was where was the defense? It was like they're on holiday or something. They're all in the opposing half. You don't want to be there, have someone back for that. And we saw it in the last game as well, that last goal. CLAT Gold committing too hard to an attack, and with that one, it definitely wasn't worth it. You need your third man to not be pushed so far. Make sure he's covering the back line, because otherwise, it just allows plays like that. Hodge down to Havoc, and then he can just dribble it in, easy peasy for him. So 4-2 now, Ascension Trinity, putting the foot down and getting themselves a comfortable lead in this game. A minute left, and they're poised to take the second victory here.
Opportunity again for Ascension Trinity, a demo from Havoc, as per usual it seems. And Jez doing a good job of getting his pass to Hodge. They're doing a very good job of just keeping their rotation tightly knit. Unfortunately for CLAT Gold, it doesn't seem the case.
Yeah, definitely not. I feel like with CLAT Gold, they have some, rotational weaknesses. I can tell, oftentimes we're seeing uncontested balls coming their way, which just leads to free shots of Ascension Trinity. Sometimes we talked about the overcommitting issue. Whereas Ascension Trinity, they're looking very clean with their rotations, alright? I'm not seeing them overstepping too much. So yeah, they're seemingly playing a more clean game here, but nevertheless, CLAT Gold still, even with their quote-unquote scrappier play style, they're still managing to get those goals, make those plays happen. So the individual quality is there for CLAT Gold. I do think that, but maybe you just got to look at the rotation positioning a little bit more, be a little bit more efficient in that regard, because they've had a harder time of getting chances. Whilst they do have a decent conversion rate, I feel like if they're a little bit more consistent in that regard, in terms of team play, I feel like they would have more success.
I think that's a very fair point. I mean, you see, obviously there's the unfortunate events going on at the moment. So for Ascension Trinity, they're at home a lot. They get a lot more time to practice. And to be fair, they have, like you mentioned, just hit my mic. They have, like you mentioned, been able to play these bubble tournaments and such. So the fact that they've been able to play such high quality gameplay allows them to continue playing this high quality gameplay that CLAT Gold just might not be used to. Maybe they've just not been practicing as much, and that's what's going to be letting them down, and it's just going to lead to just more and more unfortunate events for them.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I know CLAT Gold. Okay, server went down, so we're gonna have a little bit of a intermission here as we get the server restarted. But as I said with CLAT Gold, maybe yes, they're a more inexperienced team. I know they have been doing scrims, right? I've scrimmed them before, albeit it didn't look too impressive in those scrims. I believe they were doing tryouts still, but I mean, I've always thought of CLAT Gold as not having, the most consistent way of playing, where you're just trying to have a clean set rotation and just trying to play that way, just like Ascension Trinity. But Ascension Trinity, they play a lot together. They do plenty of scrims. Many times per week, right? So Screen against us before, they put in that work, they play a load of tournaments. So they have that experience and, they've learned from it. They've played against these high-level teams in these high-level community tournaments. And so they're bring that experience in, and it's paying off for them here. They have a game plan when they come into these games. And I think that's a brilliant thing for them. And it's giving them the advantage in this series, I feel like. So not only do they have the individual quality, they've got the rotation to back up, they have the positioning, they know how they want to play, and it's working perfectly against the CLAT Gold side, who are maybe, don't have that same approach to the game. They're kind of just winging it almost, which it can work, if you've got the talent to back it up. But in this case, against a solid side like Ascension Trinity, it's not going to get you too far.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned if they do have the individual talent, but they also need the sporadicness, because without being able to just snap like that and be able to just continue their play and make it almost unpredictable, then it's going to be a big issue for Ascension Trinity. But they're not doing that. Ascension Trinity are doing a very good job at keeping their rotation well and ordered, making sure that they take their chances when they see best fit, and it's just something that CLAT Gold aren't realistically doing.
Yes, indeed. We're getting into this game here. Ascension Trinity, here they go. Continuing the momentum here. And this Havoc doing it all himself, beating two defenders. This brilliant play. And Jez, well-placed shot behind the defender. He had, the defender, he had too much speed on that. I was maybe expecting a kind of shot. Just well-played all round for the Ascension Trinity team. They are getting the early advantage in this game.
Indeed, an opportunity almost arise for CLAT Gold. Again, the defense of Ascension Trinity was definitely useful. A flick not quite working out. It seems that, although we mentioned these players do have their individual talents, some may need to just warm up a bit more. I'm not trying to throw any shade or disrespect towards any of the CLAT Gold players, but I think that's the third time I've seen Tobble just miss a flick. Granted, the first time he did, it worked out, but the other two times it hasn't, and I think a flick there would have been absolutely perfect to secure a goal. And now, because of something like that and not getting their goal, Jez has secured a second in a minute, and now they're definitely going to be behind mentally and in the series.
Yeah, indeed. You need to have that individual consistency, because especially at the top level, one mistake can, result in you being put under more pressure, even being scored on. It's just Jez diving right at the ball there. He saw Cello, he didn't have any control over the ball there, and so he's like, right, he's going for this, hope for something, maybe a bit of a, quote-unquote brain-dead play almost to go for that. But I understand his thinking. He knows he can make something out of that, and it resulted directly shooting it into the goal. So very well done from Jez to recognise the advantage he had there. And now, a 2-0 lead for Ascension Trinity. It's comfortable for them. Looking solid so far in this game, and, if they keep this up, then I don't see any reason, to believe that they will not win the series in the end. Looking very solid, and yeah, still 2.5 minutes. Like it's time for CLAT Gold, but it's looking quite dire for them.
Indeed, I mean, I hope that one of them was back. Okay, thank God they had a player back, but then that also leads the question to, Jesus did try and play a pass into the center, possibly get the shot. I'm not quite sure. It didn't look like it. But then Cello thought it was a good idea to try and demo the goalie, which would have then led to the third man needing to push up, needing to go for the goal, and then potentially having no one back, and then lead to a third goal to lead for Ascension. And that's something maybe they shouldn't risk at this stage. They need to play time and make sure that what they're doing works. Maybe make sure that the defense slowly is becoming more dysfunctional. Ascension get more panics, like something right now, and then they could capitalize just like this instead of going for a whole team worth of play.
Yeah, this is great from Tobal though. He had excellent speed, beating both Hodge and Jez to that, and Cello easy open net. He's going to shoot that in, but we're talking about, you know, those plays, you know, when you have all three players involved in the attack. I believe for the third man, it's all about calculated risk. You know, you got to think,
of course,
as a third man, is it worth going for this or not? Can I beat the third man? And, you know, if the answer is yes, then absolutely go for it. If no, then don't. But as we say that, here comes Havoc with a goal of his own, and it's just solo play. And did he even get the reset here?
No, he didn't. He didn't. He hit his back wheels first.
Yeah, but it faked out both defenders. So, I mean, for Havoc, it worked, yes. Maybe not exactly what he was going for. Either way, probably would have been able to get something out of that, at least a scoring chance. But yeah, they'll take it. 3-1 now, getting themselves back with a 2-goal cushion. There's still half the game to go. Again, Ascension Trinity looking very solid in this game and poised to get themselves onto the match point.
Yeah, I mean, Ascension Trinity are doing a very good job. This is the third game they could potentially take, putting them onto match points. And then CLAT Gold are going to be put heavily behind and maybe not even be able to take the series at all. Or a game in the series at all. We may be looking at a clean sweep for Ascension if that's the case. And that's something that CLAT Gold aren't realistically wanting to happen. Hodge managed to get a demo there, forcing Trouble to be the only one back. Havoc getting this pinch into the center made him freak out and just managed, or not pinch, sorry, got his shot off and just managed to score a 4th goal as easy as that.
Yeah, indeed. You know, exit demos, Hodge, brilliant. That's what you want to be doing, especially against a team like CLAT Gold who have a cluttered rotation almost. And you know, if you can get rid of one player, then it's going to lead to frenzy. And there you go again with Havoc getting those demos and bombing defenders.
Well, hang on, I think that defender just broke rule 1.
Did he?
I think so.
Right. It deserved to be swept.
Yeah,
I'm saying it right now.
Come on, Ascension. I want to see you all in chat, flaming whoever that was. I don't
yeah, absolutely shocking. But we talk about Hodge. Yes, those exit demos, they worked really well. It worked perfectly there because there was no one back to defend. And, you know, that demo, not on a CLAT Gold player, but Jez just forcing the issue there. We take a look at Tobel. He had, again, no control over it. Hodge got a piece of it still, but Jez is diving in. I can just get right past him. And, you know, we talk about, you know, the individual qualities of some of these players. You know, you need to make sure you can get control over the ball. Sometimes the dribble isn't the best option. Taking a 50 might be better, so goals like that do not happen.
CLAT Gold do have an opportunity now. Hodge is the one to unfortunately own goal, it looks like. A lot of people in chat were hoping for the Brazil purely because of that breaking of the rule 1. We found out that the man that committed the crime was Tobble, so please DM me afterwards. We're gonna have a chat. But yeah, they're starting to claw back, but I don't think it's enough. I don't think CLAT Gold are going to manage to get the 3 goals they need to take their win. And Hodge just saved his own shot with the flip reset.
Oh my Jesus, Hodge. I mean, I don't know if that was deliberate or he's just, you know, taking the mick out of this CLAT Gold side. Because he's like, you know what, I'll just say this for you, right? You know, I'll have a bit of pity. Alright, I have to say that. Here comes Havoc. Lovely little tap to Jez, and he just bangs it in. 6-2 now. Ascension Trinity solidifying their stance in this series and going into match point, Wolf. It's going to be really dire for CLAT Gold. A reverse sweep. 4 games in a row. The way they've been playing so far, not going to cut it. They've got to step up.
They really do. And it's if after this game, they have to play on their top form. And unfortunately, with the way this is looking, I don't even think their top form's enough. They're doing everything they can. Hodge, Havoc, and Jez are just being too much for them at the moment. They need to find a new strategy. They need to just work out what's going wrong with Ascension Trinity and maybe capitalize off it and get the reverse sweep they really, really want.
Yeah, but it's going to be a challenge and it will take a massive change from this CLAT Gold side. And we mentioned how sloppy they've been playing so far. You know, sometimes a scrappy playstyle can work out, but in recent times in Rocket League, oftentimes you want to value your consistency, your rotations, over anything else. And then getting those more mechanical players who can make those plays on their own, they'll get that space. they'll get their chance. And so for CLAT Gold, I want to see them try a more team-based game in this next game, because right now it seems like they're a bit too reliant on the individual plays. You know, you want to try find those infield passes, get those exit demos, do whatever you can to disrupt Ascension Trinity. They have the capability to do it. We know it. They're a Champions Division team, and they've managed to get wins in the past. But it's going to be, you know, a dire situation. They've got to change it up. And against Ascension Trinity, you want to try play up to that level. You know, right now Ascension Trinity look too comfortable. You want to take them out of that comfort zone, force them to change the way they're playing, because if you let Ascension Trinity play their game, then it's just going to be game over. But into game 4, Ascension Trinity, one more for their Champions Division spot, whereas CLAT Gold's got to win the next 4 in a row to win this series.
It is going to be tough. I mean, you mentioned CLAT Gold needing to get the 4 wins in a row. They have to play outstandingly well. A CLAT Gold that we've never seen is what's going to have to be displayed here. Like you mentioned, passing plays and rotation, and I think the passing plays on top of everything is the most important thing. Like, Tobble managed to get that hit high up into the top corner and managed to just pinch it back down. But what has that really done for them at the moment? They need to reevaluate what they're doing, and I don't think they have enough time to, but they definitely need to reconsider what they're doing, make sure they get their passes to work, and stop goals like this from happening.
Yeah, and you can see from Cello, there's that touch isn't going to cut. And with Jesus, yeah, it's a great save, but, you know, I would like to see him put it, you know, to the side, right? Putting it into the middle like that isn't going to get you anywhere, because you're going to have a player, definitely for Ascension Trinity, just waiting. And this time it was Jez, and he's like, oh, free shot, I'll take that. And he's just scored off of it. So for CLAT Gold, maybe need to watch where you're putting your touches. Get it to your teammates, or, you know, at the very least, into open space where no for Ascension Trinity can, you know, have any kind of threat on the net, and then build it from there. You know, they perhaps need to play a bit more of a possession game, you know, tying it in with all these other issues these players, like the rotation and stuff like that. So 4 minutes left for CLAT Gold. They're down in this game. Not only do they need to get back into it, they need to find their victory, so it is crunch time for them.
Cello doing a good job of getting a pass off, not one that he'd probably exactly want, as Hodge managed to get to it. Managed to getting a bump on the defender. Good job from Cello. They seem to be starting to work better in their defense like they were in the first game, although they did unfortunately lose it. They still did a very good job in their defense. I'm hoping that's the sort of defense we'll see again from CLAT Gold, and hopefully their offense will just come naturally with that, because it seems to me that they're trying to force an offense that they can't perform well with.
Yeah, indeed. The defense comes first before anything, and yes, I would agree. They're starting to solidify their defense a lot more, which is a good first start, and then from there you can build on the attack. But I feel like, you know, they're not doing a good job of like getting attack set up. Like, why is Jesus on the back wall there? You know, that's not going to do anything for you, especially if you're being marked by one of the defenders, who can easily get to the ball first. So really need to sort out, play more basic in the rotation and make themselves seen, and try build up these attacks. Because right now with Ascension Trinity, they've got all the control, but that is a brilliant demo. But Tobel shooting that to the far post, and you know, he had an excellent chance there, but it is given away. And now a big double commit here from the CLAT Gold side, but it should be fine for them. They've got half the game to work with. They're finding the chances. He's got to capitalise off of them. But as we say it, open net. Jez, easy picking for him, and we'll get a 2-0 lead for his team.
Havoc doing a good job getting that pinch over the defender. And you see 2 men back, but where's the third? The reason is quite unfortunate. Jesus managed to push upfield when the shot was taken, then proceeded to wait for a player like Cello to push and pass it to him, going to the back corner. Very well done to CLAT Gold, by the way, for getting a goal here, but it does seem to me that CLAT Gold are relying too much on each other's ability to pass when they're not even willing to pass to each other themselves, and I think that's something they need to reevaluate.
Yeah, indeed. So you need to have trust in your teammates' abilities, and you know, really in themselves. To be honest, they are capable of doing this kind of thing. You know, they need to just get the ideas into place and know what is up. But that's just an absolute slinger there from Havoc, and really we could see where the misplay coming in from Tobel. He's got a bit of time, but he just slams it into that side wall. Could have easily taken control of that, but that gives a chance for a player like Havoc, and that's just a mistake you cannot be making at this level, giving the ball away for free like that. And, you know, sometimes it's like, well, yes, it's good for creating passing chances, but in your own defense, you're just more often than not going to give a free chance to your opposition. So 2 minutes on the clock now. CLAT Gold need to iron out these mistakes and get themselves on attack. They have a chance here, but Cello taking too much time on that. He needs to get on that a bit earlier and, you know, make a play happen. It's going to be tough for them, but anything's possible.
Ascension Trinity just looks so comfortable at the moment. You saw Havoc and Jez just in defense. Havoc was even on his own backboard, expecting something from CLAT to be thrown way high. Then, although they did get a double commit, they still managed to get Hodge back in defense to then take an opportunity on goal. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but he still managed to take it over one defender to have the next save it. They just seem too much like they're going to win at the moment.
Yeah, and really nothing's stopping them, to be honest. CLAT Goals, it kind of just looks like, you know, they're submitting to them, not really getting themselves into serious at all. And as we say that, another open net for big man Hodge right there, and really that could be the nail in the coffin there. Just Cello, I like the idea, he's going for that pass, but he's just a little bit too far forward. So we know for CLAT, the idea of what they want to do is there. It's just not linking up well between all three of the players, and with a 4-1 lead, I think, well, we can pretty much safely say that Ascension Trinity have got the win in the bag.
Oh, of course. I think it's fair that all the Ascension players are putting on their party hats now, you know, waving around their party poppers, like, just celebrating at the moment, because it does seem like they've just definitely won this. I mean, Jess has just scored the 5th goal. They're looking in contention to get a last game Brazil, which is truly just heartbreaking for a team like CLAT Gold. And it seems so much well-deserved for Trinity. They have played absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there, just, you know, incredible performance from the Ascension Trinity side. You know, a 5-1 victory again in this game. I mean, they've just played so well from start to finish. It was maybe a bit of a shaky start in game 1, and we'll admit it. But after that, it was just utter domination in my eyes. And this last game just shows that they were just allowed to do whatever they want. Goal number 6 from Hodge. They truly deserve to be in the Champions Division. I think everyone knew it, you know, from the start of the season, and they were contenders to make it here. And with a performance like this, a big 4-0 sweep, they have solidified their place and have proven themselves as being at that quality.
Oh, of course, definitely. I mean, Ascension Trinity are a team that a lot of people, well, let's say, Hodge and Havoc are a very good pairing, and Jez is definitely the final man that I think best suited that pair. And it's definitely shown. These three have worked tirelessly to ensure that they take a game like this as a 4-0 sweep after struggling in Division 1 playoffs. Of course, as they lost to Relevant Esports, to then beat CLAT Gold in the most ridiculous fashion I think we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen, like, I've seen some promotion relegation games, right? But I don't think I've seen a performance, you know, that dominant from a team. I've never seen a team just being able to basically roll over another team like that as if it's nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, to Ascension Trinity, right, I must say, very well done to you lads, right? And this is just me to them, right? Worked tirelessly over the last however many months they've been a trio. And you've done the right thing for a team, sticking together, working through issues thick and thin, and, you know, just improving over and over, learning from the experiences. And I must say, it was a great season overall. Maybe looked a bit scary for them towards the end of the playoffs, but then showing up here in a promotion relegation tournament to get promotion. So I must say, very well done. Hats off to Ascension Trinity. Unlucky for CLAT Gold, they showed some promise, at least in that series, but it's nowhere near enough for that level. So CLAT Gold in Division 1, better luck next time. But as for Ascension Trinity, again, very well done to them. Super proud to see them getting the victory here, and welcome to the Champions Division.
I mean, they have done amazing. And I hope that we do see them next season, which, funnily enough, is around August time. And it's going to be interesting one for them, in my opinion. They have done very well here, but of course, some dipping your toes into the water with CLAT Gold isn't quite like jumping straight into the deep end of Champs Division. And although I think they can do very well, there is definitely teams that are going to show them up, and they're going to have to really, really work hard to ensure they get the wins. And I have no doubt about it. But I hope that we see them next season as well as everyone else. I don't think there's anything else left to say, but thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you all then.
Yep, see you everyone.